Hello everyone, this is postcard 108 of the Cross Anime. This week we do something special. We do some like a team episodes. Um, we gonna doing the comedy shows. I'm Mario.
And I'm Whooper.
So we're gonna do the four episodes of like one of the most the most acclaimed comedy show and anime show, which is Gintama.
Acclaimed by who?
By anime fandom, like whenever you ask someone who watch anime, they would say like Gintama is the best comedy they have watched.
That sounds trustworthy.
Yeah, well, the thing is like neither of us have watched any episode of Gintama,
Yeah.
so
Now we've each
we gotta
watched
find
four.
out.
Only like
Yeah,
400 to go, or however many there are.
yeah, true, and some movie as well, I think.
Oh, I'm sure. Gotta milk it.
Yep. And then each of us gonna pick like one of our favorite comedy shows to
hmm
watch. Whooper picked Detroit Meadow City,
Yes, that's my
and
favorite.
yep, and I myself picked Azumanga Daioh.
Yeah, you didn't pick your favorite because I assume you were afraid of the tongue lashing I was gonna give it.
I actually like when it comes to my like my favorite comedy, I just think that Azumanga Daioh and Nichicho's having like the really same style and same like kind of content. I watched Azumanga Daioh like really early in my stage, so I think it's like 10 years ago that I first watched it.
So by stage, you mean
Uh,
like early on in your discovery of
yeah,
anime?
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Like one of the very first anime that I watched. I think
Wow, really?
when
Okay.
I yeah when I get into like a bit more seriously about watching anime.
Cool. Okay. I resisted cute girl anime for a long time when I was
Right.
like getting into it. I was watching stuff like Planetes and Monster
Mm,
and Mushishi and stuff that I thought looked, like kind of cool or mature or gritty or
yep.
atmospheric. And anything with like cute girls on it, I just refused to watch on principle. And now, it's not the opposite exactly, but if, you
Yeah,
know, it,
you
it
be
doesn't
more
stop me
open.
from watching things anymore. Yeah. I watch
Right.
pretty much everything now except for like isekai and like harem stuff, whether it be otome or
Yeah.
more
Well,
typical like a ton of girls, one guy.
yeah, for that I say that you still miss out a lot.
I don't think I've ever seen an isekai show that. Oh, Escaflowne. That's the only one.
How
Vision of
about the
Escaflowne.
12 Kingdoms?
I watched about half of Junikoki. Yeah,
Yep.
but it did not grab me.
Right. Right. So like so my reason for picking Azumanga Daioh is just being that like, I actually think this is like the king or the queen of the type of show that I like to watch the like the daily life of like some crazy misadventures of the set of characters.
Right. Yeah.
So we have this one, we have Nichicho, we have the daily life of high school boys. We have like Asobi Asobase. Like this is the type of comedy that I always get into it.
Okay. I think I like comedy that's more thematically driven.
Yep,
Hence my interest in DMC
right.
because
So
it's
we
very
gonna
clearly like about something.
yep. So we're gonna talk in detail when we get into these shows. I think let's start first with the show that we both first introduced on
Yeah. So before we talk
Gintama.
about either of the ones that we picked, we talk about the one we felt
Yep,
obligated to do because it's a comedy. It's a comedy
yep.
episode, so we're gonna watch a comedy show. Or will we? Is Gintama really a comedy?
Um,
What is comedy even? That's the question that I have now after having seen these four episodes.
all
Because if
right,
this
all right,
qualifies, then I don't know what comedy is.
all right. So by that you mean that it's not funny?
Well, yeah, I didn't find it. I mean, there were some parts of it that I thought were funny, but largely I felt like it was a shonen with a few gags per episode. It was like
That
the introduction to a shonen series.
I think that is what I feel as well. So I just think that they really overplay many of their joke. So it just like feel like one guy just screaming joke to the others.
Well, I mean, that would be fine. My issue is that I didn't feel as though the joke to you know, villain or backstory or
Mhm.
sword fight ratio was sufficient. Like,
All right.
because there were a ton of just like shonen tropes. I don't. I mean, I wish I could phrase it a little bit more creatively than that. And I understand that Gintama is serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump, so it is a
Mhm.
shonen series. Um, but this reads like the first four episodes of a battle anime, establishing the characters' sad pasts and kind of framing the main characters as like a lazy goofball, but who also has a heart of gold, and who like fights for his friends and stuff. This is bottom of the barrel establishing of your series and characters.
Yeah. How do you feel about the first two episodes? Because it clearly something that they take in the middle of like the story and tell it here.
Do you?
Are
I
you
thought these two
confused
were
by
anime
that?
original. I mean, based
Oh,
on what
is
I've
it?
heard from other people, I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that actually. So,
Yeah.
all right,
I mean,
it would
that's
make
that's just
sense.
that's what I've read. I don't know if that's true.
Mhm.
Um, I actually thought that episode one was the best of these four
All right,
because
wow.
it's the one that introduces us to the concept of like Edo, like late 19th century Edo, um,
Hmm.
with where aliens have invaded and like taken over the city. So it's we're talking like half Meiji era and half Jetsons with flying cars and stuff.
Hmm.
And the way that the series introduces us to that idea is pretty creative because at first we're in the forest, and or Gintoki is running from a bunch of bad guys. Then he
Hmm.
vaults over the the wall, goes into
Yeah,
the city, and then all of a sudden you're hit with the like aliens walking down the street, cars flying above his head, and
yeah,
it's pretty shocking. You're like, oh, this series is doing something different. It's doing something fresh. Um,
yeah.
but after that, it just kind of gets bogged down, and especially when the client of the week, the guy I forget his name, the guy wearing the orange outfit, when he starts
All
to talk
right.
about how he lost his daughter and his wife
Yep.
and his job and his house and stuff, and then the flashback at the bar between him and Gintoki, where he's talking about like having to leave his daughter behind and saying goodbye to her and stuff.
Hmm.
And you got the sad violin music. Like I was kind of checking out by that point. I think maybe that was episode 2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I noticed that the music they just overbearing at times, especially that scene that you say, and the scene where they tell the backstory of Alger Kagura. They have like
Right.
that same type of like melodic tune with a supposed for us to feel sad.
Yeah. Well, that's what music in television and film does. Like it informs
Hmm.
you about what you're supposed to feel, or maybe it heightens a particular emotion, or in some cases, like in the best cases, it might foreshadow something. I don't know. But
Yep.
if you're not feeling it on like a story and character level, then you're not going to feel it on a musical level. Has been
Yep.
my experience generally, with media as a whole. So
Yep.
yeah, the music was not. I don't know. It wasn't it
Instrumental.
wasn't dragging me in. It wasn't pulling me in.
Yeah. Right. I agree with you that the best thing about Gintama that I've watched so far is the world, like how they just like a hybrid of the Edo era and like alien stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like a kind of mashing together, and it actually feel fresh and original because of that. The
Yep.
characters is not something that I really care too much about,
Yeah,
and
especially like episode 3, the whole thing with Shinichi and his older sister trying to keep the dojo going and stuff. I mean,
yep,
how many times have you seen that plot in anime where the
yep.
where the
May
the child is trying to keep the dojo going because their parents are like missing or dead or
Yeah, maybe this is like the start of it all. Do you reckon?
I sincerely doubt it. I feel like that's got to be um
Well, but that's the thing because Gintama, like a lot of people say, is supposed to be a parody. So maybe this backstory are supposed to be a parody as well to poke fun of the jokes.
well, that's the thing that I wanted to talk about because I based
Right.
on these 4 episodes, I don't see. I mean, first of all, I should say, based on these 4 episodes, is kind of a ludicrous statement to make because there's hundreds of them.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
I watched 4. That's as many as we were willing to watch. We have jobs and other things going on in our lives,
Mhm.
but based on these 4 episodes, I don't feel as though Gintama really functions as a parody because when Shinichi's older sister, when we get that story about her trying to keep things going, keep the
Mhm.
dojo running because his parents, I can't remember what happened to their parents. Are they dead?
The father dead, I think.
Okay.
They
Oh,
never mentioned about the mother.
I thought it was their grandfather who died
I
in that scene at the start of episode 3 where he's like lying down in bed.
I think that's the dead.
No way was that the dad. He was super old.
Yeah. Well.
I think their parents were dead already, and then maybe grandpa died. I don't know, but their
All
parents are
right.
out of
All
the
right.
picture at the very least.
Yep.
And but like her desire to keep the dojo going. I mean, yeah, it's true that she's, despite being like beautiful, she's um, like violent, I guess, and I don't know, and that's supposed to be like goofy, and Gintoki calls her a gorilla, haha. But apart from any minor comedic twist that they try to give her character or that story, it's mostly played straight. Like,
Yep.
she really wants to keep the dojo going,
She even
and
like
when the
sell herself.
yeah, so she has to like prostitute herself,
Yeah.
humorously, because she wants to keep the dojo going. Um, there's no actual fun being poked at the idea of a character wanting to keep the dojo going. Like that trope is not being satirized.
Yep.
Um, and thus it's not functioning as a satire or a parody. Like the funniest thing about that episode is that their landlord, who's clearly a Jewish stereotype,
Hmm.
and that's whatever. That's fine, I guess. It's Japan. I don't hold them to the same standards.
Yep.
Plus, this was made 15 years ago. Anyway, their landlord is really into like high-legged, unitard type outfits, I guess, or what would you call those
No
type of
idea.
outfits?
It's just so weird to me.
And yeah, well, that's the funny thing about that episode. I think is that high-leg shabu shabu heaven is the name of the company or the business that he wants to run with all the like sexy girls in the airship. And
Yeah.
the fact that the characters have to keep saying that name over and over is kind of funny. But I didn't
Uh,
find anything else funny about that episode at all.
yep. Yep. I see that.
Which one of these did you like the most, do you think?
All right. I just think that the first 2 episodes is like a poor introduction to the story because it just right jump in, like in the middle of the story. So I appreciate that the episode 3 and 4 is like everything begins. We get to see more about them. But being said that, like I when we know when I learn about like Shinichi or Kagura, I don't really care about them. I don't really care about Gintoki because I just feel that there's not a lot about them at the moment that I that I feel related to. As for the comedy pack, I agree with you. It's just playing straight to the moment. With like uh, some of the jokes they're just shouting to each other.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to come down too hard on the idea of like anime comedy just being loud and people just
Mm-hmm.
being loud and that's supposed to be what's funny because that can be funny. I think that has been funny in the past. I'm not the best at recalling like all the anime comedies that I've
All right.
watched. I think we tried to do that a couple of weeks ago. Like I came up with Space Dandy and
Mm,
Princess Jellyfish as
yeah.
some of my favorite anime comedies. But those are not like traditional comedies, I
Mm,
suppose. They're a little bit more each of them. I guess it's true that like the stuff that I find funny is not typically the stuff that's loud,
yeah.
although there's a notable exception to that, which we'll get to in a minute. But I think it can be funny to have a character shouting, like when the situation calls for it.
Mm,
I just don't feel like the situation in Gintama called for anything except a different introduction to this entire half alien, half human world. Like I wish that had been the focus of these episodes. And to be fair, it kind of was in episode 4 because Kagura is an alien herself.
yeah.
So I actually kind of like her. I kind of like her backstory a little bit, but
Mm,
it's not funny. It's a
yeah.
serious thing. Like she comes from a clan of like assassins or
All
something.
right. Um. Yeah. Yeah. Go on. Go on.
No, that's what were you about? Like my
Yeah.
main
No.
my
No.
major point about Kagura is that her story is just played totally straight. Even though it's kind of funny that a cute little girl with a giant dog
Yep.
is a killer.
Yep.
Um, that
All right.
even though that concept is kind of funny, like the story is just this is her backstory, and isn't that kind of sad?
Yeah. Don't you find that Kagura like um eating she eat a lot of food that like eventually like they run out of food. Funny.
I don't know, like women eating a lot being funny is kind of funny to me, I guess. I like it didn't make me laugh or anything. I wasn't having to pause the episode because I was busting a gut. But I guess it's amusing that Kagura is the one who eats a lot because normally it's like shonen heroes, like the Narutos and the Gokus and
Yeah.
the Luffys of the world who are eating all the things.
Yeah.
Whereas in Gintama it's Kagura.
Yeah.
So that's like mildly amusing, I guess. Although I've seen it
All right.
before, like Samurai Champloo,
Yep.
Fu was always eating a ton of food, and like in a couple episodes she got super fat, like cartoonishly fat, and then was just normal again by the end. Um,
Yep.
like Samurai Champloo is funnier to me than this show.
Yeah. Well, I actually want to watch Samurai Champloo again. I just think that some of the episode was very uneven.
A lot of people have been
Com-
saying that to me lately, but I remember loving Samurai Champloo from front to back. But again, Bebop is one of my favorites of all time, so
Yeah.
I just like the guy's
Well,
style.
yeah. Well, when you compare Samurai Champloo to Cowboy Bebop, you will feel that it's just an inferior show compared to Bebop.
I mean, most shows are inferior compared to Bebop. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I
one of
will
the
be honest. That's
even
right.
if you take like personal preference out of the equation, it's one of the best looking and best produced anime of all time. Like it came right before the digital revolution, so it came in right at the peak, so to speak, like the
Yeah.
peak of cell animation. It looks gorgeous. The soundtrack is like just popping off every time a new song comes on. You're like, oh my god, how do they top themselves again? Uh,
All right. So you are one of these guy who think that the anime of the golden anime is like 20 years ago.
I don't think there's a golden age of anime, um,
Right.
but
Good.
it's like not really up for debate that the early digital era from like 2000 to 2005 ish was a pretty
Mm.
dark time. Like for example, when watching Haibane Renmei,
Uh-huh.
that show really really suffers from its native resolution being so low because anime were being mastered at like 480p back then.
Hmm.
There, it doesn't like higher resolution versions of those shows. Those shows do not exist. Any that are sold via Blu-ray are just upscales. You know, like
All right. Because I don't really remember any like negative thing when I watch Habanero. I will like take note on that the next time I see it.
I mean, even Samurai Champloo was produced during that period,
Yep.
and it's like the backgrounds, for example, are blurry as hell.
Hmm.
And anime backgrounds having kind of a watercolor look to them in general helps to mask that issue. But
Hmm. Hmm.
like anywhere you look online, this is not just like a personal anecdote. Anywhere you look online, you can find information about like the digital, particularly DigiPaint, which was the
Hmm.
process that they were using in the early days of digital animation.
Yep.
Is seen largely as like the anime industry really struggled to get it together in those first 5 years.
Hmm.
But that has nothing to do with
All right.
comedy.
Yep.
So
All right. Let's go back to the comedies that we supposed to talk about. Um, yeah, I could see that why this show is popular. It's like like the type of the shonen show that it have like all the shonen's attribute. They have some fun to watch characters, and like the misadventure of them can like sometimes escalate to something unexpected, and maybe something hilarious and fun. So I think like for the long run I can see myself like keep watching the show to see like uh to see the peak of it, basically.
I'm not going to waste my time. The show's
I can
hundreds of
understand
episodes
why.
long. There's no reason for me to waste my time like that.
Yeah, I can see why. But like we have mentioned that before, but like many that say that it get really good like in episode 30 or something.
Here's a pro tip for anime watchers out there. If someone tells you it gets better, if that phrase comes out of their mouth, you can just instantly disregard everything they say about anime. It gets better is a trap that people use to get you to watch whatever their shitty favorite is.
Yeah, true.
If a series can't hook you within like 4 episodes, at least provide a glimmer of something that makes you want to keep watching. Then just throw it in the bin.
All right. Fair enough.
Like even Hunter x Hunter, after 4 episodes, I was like, okay, where are they going with this?
Yep.
I was interested, at least a little.
Yep.
Here I'm just like, this is boring. I mean, there are things that I like about it. I like Gintoki's design. How I don't know what you call his outfit, but it's really cool. How it like, it's
Yep.
like two different outfits. One of them is like swallowing the other one.
Mhm.
I mean, Sugita's voice coming out of his mouth is pretty hilarious, I guess. Because he doesn't sound anything like it. If there is an element of parody to Gintama in these first 4 episodes, I think that it doesn't come from the source material. It comes from Sugita voicing the main character, because he sounds absolutely nothing like a shonen protagonist. I don't know. Kaguro's backstory is kind of interesting. The world design, is about it.
The character designs.
They're okay. Certainly distinctive.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, for example, the cheetahs in episode 3, the alien cheetahs who are, like, making fun of Shinichi when he's working at the restaurant.
All
I
right.
would
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love to see more alien characters and fewer, like, typical-looking human characters. I think that would really help to sell the idea that this world is one worth watching and worth exploring.
Yep. I really like the world building. I think like I find it even like fresher and more original than you say the world building in Plug Blockage Battlefront. Basically
Dude,
the same
what?
idea.
Kekai
Basically,
Sensen has like no way.
Yeah, well, it's basically the same idea, but this one I just feel is more, like there's more room for, like developments,
Yeah, I
everything,
suppose
that.
because it's like a hybrid of two worlds rather than a complete takeover like Kekai Sensen
Right.
was.
Yeah.
Kekai Sensen invents an entirely new world, so there's plenty of room for it to explore and introduce new stuff. But Gintama has the benefit of not being like totally serious, I suppose.
Yeah.
It can go in
Because
whatever direction it damn well pleases.
yeah. Well, I think another thing that I find this refreshing is like on a Plug Pocket Battlefront, it's more like even like the same era, but this is like the mix of other era as well, mixing. So we have like the Edo era, but we still have like someone try to watch Shonen Jump,
Right.
and, yeah, and then something come from the future as well. So it is kind of mix between not only other races but like other time era as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Kind
mean,
of
there are
interesting.
things. There are things that someone watching this show for the first time or experiencing it could get interested in and
Yep.
you know start to follow it for. But no, I'm good. I'm good with Gintama. I mean, I suppose I'm happy to have watched 4 episodes so I can have some sort of opinion about it. Although I guarantee
Yep.
you that every Gintama fan in the world uh, does not care
Will.
for or respect the opinions of a guy who's only watched 4 episodes, because I'm sure you have to get to like
Yep.
episode 5,672 before your opinion is relevant.
Yeah, and they will say the same thing to you. It will get better.
Yeah. Yes, they would. And we all know what to do with people who say that.
All right. Let's move on to the next show.
Which one do you want to do?
Yeah, let's go with your favorite, Detroit Metal City.
Okay.
I didn't really expect that actually. I didn't really expect that it's like short. It's like just half.
Well, it's half length.
Yeah, half length compared to other shows.
Right. And it's not it's not like, even for a half-length show, um it's not a full half-length show because the aspect ratio is all over the place.
Yeah, that is right. It at times feel like just like a PowerPoint presentation to me, in a good way
uh
though.
I don't like the use of the phrase PowerPoint presentation when
All
talking about
right.
anime, unless we're talking like Backstreet Girls level of
I
just stills. Then
do.
sure, but
All right, but do you actually I all right. I am reminded of that show when I watch Detroit Metal City. I think like Patrick, you're trying to intimate, sorry,
imitate,
try to mimic the style of Detroit Metal City.
dude. Okay,
Do
well,
they?
I suppose I don't really remember Backstreet Girls having those different aspects, those different aspect
Right.
ratios. Did it?
Hmm. I
I
don't
only
think
watched
so.
one
No,
episode.
no. Yep.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Um,
Hmm.
Detroit. I mean, Backstreet Girls draws from a different art style, I suppose. Maybe one that's inspired by Detroit Metal City a little bit. But I mean, I think Detroit Metal City looks like Beavis and Butthead, the American
All right.
cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. No, no.
I mean, it's clearly not inspired by the way other anime looks. Like Gintama, for example, you can peg as a
Mm-hmm.
as anime, But Detroit Metal
Yeah.
City is, I assume that whoever created it and whoever adapted it were drawing on a lot of Western styles and ideas.
Yep.
And I definitely don't think it's fair to say that it's a PowerPoint because, dude, did you see the music video that they shot?
Yep.
Where it was like Krauser was on fire and there were like the scene where he slowly walked through that ring of fire, like just beautifully animated, and then all
Right.
the babies in like the sea of blood as he was like singing about like killing your
Right.
parents and stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
That's it. I mean, I think this show busts out some really stellar animation during those moments for like maximum impact.
Yep.
In general, it's pretty limited. Yeah.
Yep. Right. I would say this is like one of these few shows where they make fun of rape and like killing your parent. Actually, funny to me.
Yeah, it is. Well, the thing that makes it funny is that the guy who's saying it actually loves Swedish pop,
Yeah.
uh, and is like a really gentle soul. And as the police are trying to take him away, as he's in character as Krauser,
Yeah.
everyone's talking about how Krauser, like he killed his parents and then raped their dead bodies. And he's like, "What are you talking about? My parents live in such and such a place in Japan, and they'd be really sad if they were to hear any of this."
Yep. And then like he just like accidentally fall over someone. The fan will like go crazy about that.
Right, right. When he falls on
Say
top of
that
the female
like
policewoman, and you see him like
yeah.
rotating, a still image of his character model like rotating on top of her, and he's raping her.
God.
This
Oh my
show's
god.
definitely. I mean, this show's definitely playing with some taboo
Yeah.
topics. But
Yeah.
I think the fact that its protagonist has that dual nature to him is
Yeah.
what lets it get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
guess that's a matter of personal opinion, though. There are going to
right.
be some people who watch this who like can't stomach it, but it's definitely not advocating rape. I mean, the joke
Yeah.
is the main character would never ever do that.
Yep. Well, I would say like I'm in the middle of it. I'm not really overly floored but I find many of that hilarious.
Yeah, I
So
think it's
yeah.
funny.
Yep.
But I definitely, when I was watching it and I saw the word rape come up on screen for the first time, I had a little moment where I was like, "Oh yeah, that is in this series."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna see the word rape like 100 more times,
Right.
including the street performance where he's
Yeah.
he's doing his like death growl and he's like, and one of the fans goes, "There it is! It's the 10 vocalized rapes per second."
My God. I think they have like some really uh unique thing to say about like paradise the metal scenes, especially the fans, because they are just like really blindsided by everything that Krauser did on stage. They eat all his shit about the best about his backstory up.
Right. Well, yeah, that's what's interesting about Krauser, I guess, is that there's like a mythology to his character,
Yep.
including the 10 vocalized. He has like special moves almost, like the 10 vocalized rapes and when he trips and falls onto the cop, not the
Yep.
female cop, but the first one, they one of
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
one of the fans says that's one of his 48 cop killer moves. So like by using those sorts of phrases and terms, you can get a sense for the idea that Krauser is like a legend, you
Yep.
know,
Yep. Yep.
and it's a legend that's been written in a very short time because I think he only recently graduated from college, right? He says
Yep.
when he meets Aikawa in the record store that it's only been 2 years since he graduated and since he last saw her.
I
So he's probably 24-ish, I
I,
guess.
I, I think it's like 5 years. I always get the impression that they are 5 years after, like he came to Tokyo to make it big.
But didn't he say that it's been 2 years like it's been two
Not really
years since
sure.
I've seen Aikawa?
Yeah, I will need to double check on that because I always think that it's like 5 years. But like
Okay.
whatever, like he actually make it big in a really short times.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't. There is a moment in one of these episodes. I think it's episode 2, maybe. There's some sort of radio broadcast or TV broadcast where they describe Detroit Metal City as an indies band,
All right.
and that's a
Wow.
term that I've heard in Japanese media. They don't use the term indies to refer to what style of music it is. They strictly call music indies music if it's not being distributed by a major label.
Yep.
So they're very, like they use the
So
word
it,
as intended.
yeah, that's right. That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I mean by thinking of indie. Like
Right.
independent. They
Yeah, so
just
they haven't actually made it big because they're an indies band, and like their songs appearing in a karaoke track listing is like big news for them because they've
Yep. Yep.
they've
Yep.
now they're starting to finally make it. And that it's pretty amusing that that death metal songs would be, or whatever kind of metal this is, that they would be in listed in a karaoke joint.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
that's
unbelievable. Eh? But like aggressive Retsuko, she always sings black metal songs in a karaoke as well.
that's true. Yeah, and I'm sure that Detroit Metal City was, you know, a factor in Agretsuko's design. I can't
Yeah,
imagine that like the person who created Agretsuko had never heard of Detroit Metal City.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, I have to imagine that anime like about death metal or metal in
Mm-hmm.
general has
Yeah,
got to be few and far between, right? It's probably just Detroit Metal City.
yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else.
Back, it's
Beck is
just like a
definitely not
normal
about metal
horror.
music.
Yep. All right.
Have you seen Beck?
No, I haven't.
Okay. It's Beck is just like straight up dad rock, pretty much. Classic rock.
Hmm.
That's what inspires all of the characters in
I
that band, Beck.
Yeah, I would love to see Baby Metal getting an anime adaptation.
I'd be. Oh, you know what? I just realized Zombieland Saga has a metal episode, doesn't it?
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I
Is
think.
that the first one?
I think so. Yeah, and then hip hop was the second, I
Yep,
believe.
yep, 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 yep.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
DMC is
it
pretty,
yeah,
pretty
it
unique
just
subject matter, I suppose.
that's right. It just fine film between in anime.
Yeah,
Sadly, because I think that metal like metal is actually like popular in Japan as well.
probably. I mean, Japan's musical scene is pretty varied, and
Yep,
there's
yep.
been a lot of developments in Japanese music that have really influenced America. Noise rock in
Hmm.
particular.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, definitely. Like
Um,
Fishman's is the one that's coming to mind right now, but there are plenty of other Japanese noise rock bands.
I also know that many Japanese are playing my kind of music shoegazing.
Yeah,
So
there is a lot of Japanese shoegaze. That's true. I am not really into it, but
mm,
I'm aware of that scene, I guess.
yeah, interesting. Um,
There's a lot of good Japanese punk too as well. There's a band that I would recommend called Otoboke Beaver, which is an all-female Japanese punk group.
I think
Um,
I heard of them. Can you say that again? Auto.
Otoboke Beaver.
Okay. I actually saw them on YouTube the other day when they played like one of the live on YouTube. They actually freaking amazing.
Yeah, they're great. They have an
Oh my
album.
god.
I don't know the name of it because it's in Japanese and I can't remember it right now.
Yeah,
But I'll send you a link to it or something because
yeah,
it's great. It's really high energy. The
yeah.
vocal
They've
performance is really raw.
Yeah, yeah. They are from Kyoto, and like uh, just the moment I watched the live online, I was like, God, I really want to see them live.
Yeah,
They,
I'm sure that'd be wild. There'll probably be people
yeah,
moshing.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Yep. Let's
uh,
back to
yeah. I mean, speaking of Otoboke Beaver and how intense how intense their performances can get,
mm,
Detroit Metal City, uh, like they literally have a guy on stage whose name or his role is to be the fat pig of capitalism, and he wears a
yeah,
ball gag, and Krauser like abuses him and kicks him and
yeah.
like sits on him and stuff.
That
Um, so
yep.
DMC
Gosh.
is, and of course the lyrics are about like killing your parents and how humanity is all just evil and everything is trash and the world is a cesspit. Um, so I mean, on the one hand you have all that, and then on the other hand you have like the main character. His name is Negishi. He's just like a sweetheart, kind of a pansy, and then he's somehow Krauser. And I
Yep.
mean that's where most of the comedy comes from, is that dichotomy.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to add that the one thing that I feel a bit iffy about the show right now is that the way it portrayed the metal scenes. I think, um, I told you before, it's supposed to be a parody. It's supposed to be like poke fun of the of the scene itself. But for me right now, like the way they portray it, it's just like all image and nothing substance. Like you see the lyrics, it's just like it sounds like some 5 year old written the lyrics.
Oh yeah, I think that's the point.
Yeah.
It's as exaggerated as it can possibly be.
Yeah.
But if you continue, if you decide to continue with the series, what you'll find, at least this is what I remember about it,
Right.
is that it becomes less about metal specifically and more about the way that management and labels and just suits in general, like business people, will demand that your image be crafted in a particular way. And so as an artist, you have less freedom than you could ever realize. Like on the outside looking in, you think that Krauser is a legend, but
Yep.
he's really just Negishi.
Yep.
And in the same way, like that applies to the music industry in general, is that whoever it is that you're looking at, on YouTube or on stage or whatever, what you see is not what's real.
Yep.
And I think from what I remember, that's something that the series dives more into. And I mean, it never gets heavy about it, I don't think, because there's always Krauser like eating bats to fall back on for some laughs.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it does have that theme running throughout it, I think, like the idea of reality versus image.
Yep. Or he played guitar. He played guitar through his tongue.
With his teeth.
Remember
Yes.
that? Yeah, with his teeth. All right. How can anyone do that?
I don't know, but it's so funny when Negishi is like defending Aikawa in the record store, and he starts busting out all those moves that he does on stage, and you can see him playing air guitar with his teeth, and immediately all the fans recognize what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because he's channeling Krauser.
And they even like see the whole band.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Oh my God.
That's what's great about those characters, even though they're like totally taken in by Krauser's image, so they're kind of like suckers in that sense. They're also like really passionate, and so when they see Negishi just miming Krauser's moves, they fill in the rest because they recognize that he's real. Like on some level, they recognize that he's really Krauser. That's why they see the rest of the band.
That's right. And then we got like some of the relationship between Negishi and his crush Aikawa, and like in both the episodes how he actually like accidentally insulted her when he in Krauser persona.
Right. Yeah.
I would think that this gonna be a running joke.
I think so. Based on my memory, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it stays funny for all 12 episodes or however many episodes there are, but the thing is that even though he's such a wimp, like he is really suited for Aikawa. Like they have similar interests, and she does appear to be like kind of interested in
Invested
him. Like
in him as well.
yeah, for example, in episode 2, she stays even after her friends leave at the karaoke bar. She stays with Negishi because he's it's clear to her that, or she thinks that he's like sick, that he's ill.
Yep.
When he's really just drunk and he's susceptible, so he allows his alternate personality to take over.
Oh my God.
So that's
so it's have been a fun 2 episodes so far. Is it just like 12 episodes?
I think so.
I want to see more of that.
Well, the good thing about Detroit Metal City is that it's a breezy watch, 12-minute episodes, and I think just 12 of them, maybe 13.
Yep.
And they're,
by that I mean
funny.
like why something like that it's just like 12 episodes, and why something like Gintama is like 200 plus episodes?
Probably because, I mean, Gintama's a Weekly Shonen Jump series, right? So it has material to adapt, so they just keep going with it. I don't
And
know what the deal is with Detroit Metal City's source material. I don't even know if it has any, actually. I think it does.
uh, all right, from what I see here, it's based on the manga, and this had like 10 volumes
Um, adaptation, Detroit Metal City. Yep, 10 volumes. Um,
from
yeah, so they just, I mean,
2005
this
to
was animated by
2010.
Studio 4C, and they don't typically do like long television adaptations. I mean, this is an OVA.
Right.
So I guess
Yep.
they just wanted to, in and out. They just wanted to briefly
That's
adapt it.
alright. That's alright as long as it's good enough. Like um, not to spread out the materials.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorites. One of my favorite anime. My favorite comedy anime for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
it probably helps that it didn't overstay its welcome.
And
If
I
this were
actually
100 episodes, I doubt it would be one of my favorites.
yep. I actually kind of find funny as well that not only Negishi but like the rest of the members are not your typical, like metal band members.
Yeah.
Because in real life they just look like really like nerdy as well, especially the
Well,
drum guy.
I mean, he's a ladies' man.
Yep.
But Kamu or Nishida, Kamu is his stage name, which is interesting because if I remember correctly, Kamu was he a painter or like a French philosopher? I think he was a novelist actually.
All right.
Albert Camus.
Camus.
I think he was like a French philosopher and novelist.
All right. Let's just
So it's especially
philosopher. Yeah.
comedic that he's named after that great thinker when he's
Yep.
actually like an idiot.
He doesn't really say much.
Well, he
Except
he
for
definitely
curry.
talks about the proper way to eat a wiener. That's
Yep.
that's important.
Right. All right.
So
So yeah,
I
it's
enjoyed
been
I enjoyed
really,
watching these two again, getting a refresher.
yeah, it's been really fun so far. Fun watch and a preacher as well. It's just like 20 minutes for the 2 episodes.
Yep. And then you get to listen to the ED at the end. It
Yep.
always slays me whenever Negishi sings that little song in the ED because one of the lyrics is "Sweets baby." Whenever he says "sweets baby," like it's so shallow. He just throws in the word "sweets" because I don't know. He's it's a love song, so he throws the word "sweets" in there. Like his idea of what kind of music he wants to make, ironically, is actually like just as shallow as his metal persona, which is totally fake. Because the music that he loves is like talking about sweets and sitting by the phone and waiting for a call
Mhm.
and wanting to go to the beach. So even though he has this music that he's really passionate about and wants to play, which he demos for the manager at one point,
Mhm.
and she's like, "This isn't gonna make me come.
Yeah.
Get out of here. That's weak." So it's not as though the music that he really loves is like, DMC isn't grinding an axe against metal music. Um, because Negishi is into this really soft shit, and that's not cool either.
Yep. All right. So I think I'm gonna make time to watch it until the end someday.
Well, you'll only
Because
have to clear out like a couple hours.
yeah, well, it's gonna be a quick watch anyway.
Yeah. How about
Um.
are we ready to
Yep.
move on?
Yes. Sure. Let's just go to Azumanga.
Okay. I enjoyed rewatching these.
Right.
I do like
Uh.
Azumanga Daioh a lot.
Yeah. Well, truth be told, that before watching this, I only remember like a couple of the main cast. So I remember like the hyper girl. I remember like
Tomo-chan.
the tall and silent kind of the awkward girl. I
Sakaki-san.
remember her name. And I remember the talented girl, the 10 years old girl Chio.
Yeah.
I
She
don't
was so
remember.
cute.
Yes, he's so cute. Anyone here is so cute. I don't remember. I don't actually remember Osaka. So like watching like the whole episode about Osaka in her point of view, is actually kind of funny as well, refreshing and funny.
Yeah, she's what's great about her is that she provides like an equal in the cast for Chio, because Chio is disadvantaged in the sense that she's young,
Yep.
she's short, she's not very athletic, but
Mm.
Osaka is
It's on the
she's
level.
dumb, or she's airheaded at least and easily distracted. She's kind of spacey. Uh, so she levels the playing field for Chio a little bit because there's someone that she can beat in a race. There's
Yep.
someone that she can play volleyball with on an equal level. Dude, I fucking love the volleyball scene in episode 2, where they're tossing it back and forth and it just hits them in the head
Oh
every time. It's so funny.
I, I think that they really have the ball to really write that one scene for so long.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, it did. Well, because that like it switched it up at just the right moments. Like the third time, for example, you see unexpectedly the imprint of a volleyball's face, or of a volleyball on Chio's face, and then the
Yeah.
perspective switched to the gym teacher.
Yep. Who
Where you
watched the
see
whole
them from
thing?
the side, and then like one of them runs off screen to get the ball and comes back. I don't know. I can't explain in words why that's so funny,
I
but
think it's just like the timing, the comic timing
oh yeah,
that's just perfect. Yeah.
it's definitely the timing. I just don't know like exactly why stretching it out over that particular amount of time makes it so funny. But I was just laughing. I was laughing out loud as it was happening.
Yeah.
Every time the
Really
ball
love.
would hit them in the head, it would make me laugh.
Yeah. And yeah, I really love the character. Like I think like Osaka is like one of the if you see them by like the character type, character attributes, it will be like the most boring one to watch.
Who, Osaka?
Osaka. And
I suppose, yeah.
yeah, but this episode 2, it's just like like knock everything out of the park. I just like enjoy every single moment of like being in her point, inside her point of view. You
I
remember
actually
like
I actually
where?
thought episode 1 was my favorite of these two. I do like
Yeah.
Osaka.
Yep.
Um,
I like episode 1 as well. Yes.
but a lot of the humor involving Osaka's character in episode 2 has to do with like stereotypes about Okinawans, or wait, Osakans.
Osaka.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Yes. Like there are some of the like plain word that but we don't really get if we are not Japanese.
right. Yeah, there is wordplay. Especially the one about like edamame beans.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I was just I mean I had translators notes to clue me in on the joke, but even like it's only been 24 hours since I've seen it. I already forget the
Mhm.
context.
Yep.
Um, One thing that I did like, one Osakan stereotype that I did like is, or maybe this wasn't particularly Osakan, but like the idea of a Bokeh and Tsukomi, like the two comedic roles.
Yep.
Um, and Tomo-chan is like really hoping that Osaka will fulfill the Tsukome role to her Bokeh, like to be the straight man. And at one
Uh,
point, at one point, Tomo-chan says something ridiculous, and Osaka, like, she can sense that Tomo-chan wants her to be the straight man, so she goes
mm,
Nanya, and like kind of pats her with her arm, and Tomo-chan like
yep.
is ecstatic. She's like overjoyed that someone is here. Someone has finally arrived who will play along with her nonsense. I think that's a really good character moment. Actually, is realizing that Osaka fills that role, and that
Yep.
she is like kind of critical for Tomo-chan's character to work. You need the straight man. Like you need kind of the in Osaka's case, you need the dits, like somebody who's going to look at Tomo's character and be like, "What are you doing?"
Yep.
and kind of be like, "Nani aro?"
Yeah. My God, Tomo-chan. Like if I know someone like that in real life, I would be like having a headache.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely
Here,
the sort of thing that only media can do, not reality.
that's right. Here, though, she actually pretty cute.
Yeah, she is. I am kind of mixed on her character a little bit. I
Yep.
don't.
Hmm.
It's not. I mean, we were talking about funny equals loud earlier with Gintama, and
Yep. Yep.
Tomo-chan is just like the
Loud.
funny is loud trope,
Hmm.
given a physical form.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, I think mostly it works, and that's why I made that comment earlier
Uh,
about like there can be exceptions
well,
to the idea that that isn't funny. There are exceptions to
yep.
that.
All right. I think it's mostly work because it contracts very well with other characters. So there is the dynamic between like Tomo and one of her best friend who like wearing glass and like you said like Tomo and Osaka as well. So like I think her character works so well right now is because she interact with all the type of characters and like produce some dynamic that's really like interesting to watch.
Yeah, I hadn't actually considered that. That she's a very loud character in a show that's relatively quiet. Um,
Mm,
for whatever reason, yeah,
yeah,
I
you
hadn't
could say
thought of
that,
that.
yes. Mm,
But I will say that like despite that contrast, she is
mm-hmm.
so loud that
Yeah,
she makes the show loud whenever she is being loud. it's
yeah,
it's not as though like the you get the sense as you're watching her on screen that oh yes this is just a very placid and tranquil series. This
mm-hmm.
is the art. This is like Aria. I'm just like drifting away into blissful unconsciousness, and suddenly Tomo shatters it. No, like Tomo being in that class makes the class
Yeah,
loud, like because there's a
that's right.
potential for her to explode at any moment.
Yep, yep, that's true.
But I mean, it's usually funny, and I'm glad that Osaka is there to be to play along with her gags, and that Sakaki exists or Sakaki I should say, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because she's the polar opposite of Tomo-chan. She's like
Yep,
everyone thinks of her as being like kind of
so
cool
cool.
and graceful and but really all she wants to do is pet that cat.
And got bitten by that cat.
Yeah.
The cat who bite.
What I really like about that scene is that after the cat bites her,
Yeah.
we immediately cut away. We do
Mm-hmm.
like she doesn't scream. We don't even see her facial expression. The cat just
Mm-hmm.
bites her, and then we cut away, um, which is, I mean, I appreciated it. I appreciated that because like she's a gentle giant.
Yeah.
So there's no like courageous attempt for her to like hold back her tears. There's no expression of pain. She's just such a gentle character that we don't see any of that from her.
Yeah, that's right.
She just wants to pet that cat. That's it.
And I just love the way that even she got bitten by that, and even like when we see like her hands got on the bandit
Right.
stuff. She was just thinking that like maybe the cat just having a bad day.
Right. She's so
So
trusting.
cool.
Yeah. She doesn't she doesn't seem to care about anything except petting this cat. Isn't she the one in the back like you know how there's like that typical anime class like desk kind of in the back on the left where like protagonists usually sit and stare out the window? You know that trope that I'm talking about?
All right, I remember distinctively that she's the one who sit near the windows, but not sure if she's was sitting like in that corner the protagonist like favorite seat.
Right. Yeah, I mean I guess the reason that I suspect that she was is because she was sitting in a window seat and she's always looking out the window.
Yep.
But in like an anime protagonist usually stares out the window because they're like thinking about oh man like I don't know whatever whatever anime protagonists think about like their friends and their duty and stuff. But she doesn't. She's just thinking about animals,
Yep.
you know, and that's great.
Yep. All right.
One thing, oh yeah, one thing I definitely want to say and
Mhm.
this was actually a conversation I was interested in having, was the OP and the ED are by the same band.
All
And
right,
I
I
was
know.
thinking about like in the history of TV anime, what are some of the best OP and ED combos by the same group? Because I think Azumanga Daioh is on that list. I love both songs.
Huh. All right, I can't really rem- recall one right now because usually the OP and ED are from different bands. It's actually like
Yeah,
the common
usually.
practice right now.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought of two others. One is Cowboy Bebop because they're both by the Seatbelts. That's
right.
kind of cheating because that band just handled all the music for that
Yep.
series. But
Yep. Yep.
and the
Yep.
other one is Sangatsu no Lion, the first scene or
Is
the
he?
first season. Yeah,
Are you
Bump
sure?
of Chicken. Bump of
Huh.
Chicken
Right.
did the OP and the ED in the first season, first core,
Hmm.
and I love
I
both of those songs too.
I still remember like the OP of that song. From Sangatsu no Lion, like ta 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 ta.
Yeah, that's Bump of Chicken, and they did
I
the
don't
ED
remember
as well.
the ED though. Yeah,
It's
like
the
all the
yeah.
songs from Sangatsu no Lion were good, were actually memorable to me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but at the same time, every time there was a new one, I always missed the
The
Bump of
old one.
Chicken songs.
All right.
Yeah, I always missed them because I love. I mean, when I was really depressed in college, uh, I would listen to that song on repeat
Wow. All right.
as like a way of like motivating myself and trying to pick myself up. I would listen to the Sangatsu no Lion OP like over and over
Right. Wow.
in my car as I was driving to campus and
That.
as I was walking around on campus with my headphones on, like a dork.
Wow. That was really powerful actually. Like if I say that my favorite Sangatsu OP was, I think it's the one that's Sayonara by Slender, I think the name.
Sayonara Bystander. Is that the one by Yuki?
Yeah, that's the one by Yuki. That's like I
That's
think the third one, I think.
that's probably my second favorite.
Hmm.
Really love the animation in that one as well.
Right. Me
Is that the
too.
one where he runs across the river?
Yep. 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 Yep.
Dude, I get chills when I watch that scene.
Yep. So
Definitely love that show.
yeah,
Um,
I just don't understand why. I don't know if it in America they already have like the DVD or Blu-ray of Sangatsu, but there isn't any in Australia where I live.
I don't know, man. I mean, are Blu-rays region free? Are there region
No, no,
restrictions
no,
on
no, no, no,
Blu-rays
no. They have like their own region as well. I think it's
for
like
Blu-rays?
maybe for Blu-ray. Yes.
Damn. Because I know that Japan and the U.S. are actually in the same region for Blu-rays,
Jeez, that.
whereas previously they were not. Like for DVDs, I'm pretty sure there were separate
Yep.
regions, but I'm like 95% sure. Blu-ray regions. Let's
But
see.
yeah, but the thing is, on your Blu-ray players, you can or DVD player, you can set that into like region free, so you can watch anything.
Oh, well then what's the point of having different regions if you can set
Uh,
your region on your Blu-ray player?
yeah, the point is more of from the distributor company because each region have different distributor for the same series.
Yeah, but if every Blu-ray player can play all three
Um,
regions,
I
what's the
think
point?
yeah, I think it's depend on the DVD and Blu-ray player though. So it depend on each one, but apparently you can set them into region free,
Maybe you have to like crack it to do that.
maybe, or maybe there's just some like special code that you need to put in order for it
Yeah.
to unlock.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm seeing here that North America and Japan are in the same
You
region.
are lucky.
Well, not. I mean, it doesn't really apply to me because I steal everything. Um, but
Don't say that out loud here, man.
it's okay. I'm in good company. I mean, out of all the media fandoms in the world, I think anime might be one of the most piracy heavy.
Yep.
Like even video games, most people just buy their video games because Steam exists.
Mhm.
Anyway, Yeah, I enjoyed rewatching Azumanga. I mean, I have way more to say about it too.
All right. Out of all the characters that I watched so far, I think the one that my least favorite right now is the homeroom teacher. She's just kind
Really?
of yeah, she's just kind of annoying to me right now.
How are you annoyed by her but not Tomo-chan?
Tomo-chan is more like airheaded, so she's more
No,
like
no, that's Osaka.
all right. So she seems more like she doesn't have any like ill will against people, but like the homeroom teacher, she actually really mean sometimes.
That's the whole point. That's why she's so funny. She steals the kid's bike in like the first scene of the show. That's what sets the tone for the series.
All
It's her
right,
selfishness. That's funny to me.
all right.
Uh,
So yeah,
yeah,
that
but it's true. It's true that she's like the most morally dubious character. I guess.
yeah, and she like the only person in on the cast as well, and she's like acting the most behaving the most selfishly out of everyone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's also kind of the point of Azumanga a little bit.
Mm,
Is it's well, I wouldn't say the point, but one of the themes that it trades in is like innocence.
right.
You've got a 10-year-old in this class. You've
Yeah.
got an airhead in this class. You've got a soundtrack that heavily features the recorder as an instrument,
Mhm.
which has become a trend in recent slice of life anime. For example, Hokago Table Nishi, which is airing right now, uses the recorder quite frequently. And
Mhm.
Suritama did as well, which is another series about fishing. I wonder if there's a link there. But
Mhm.
I have to imagine that Azumanga was one of the first anime to use the recorder so heavily
Mhm.
uh, in its soundtrack.
Mhm.
Like
That
in terms of
interesting.
how it innovated and what it did, I would guess that its soundtrack is one of the areas in which it was most innovative.
Mhm.
um, because there weren't a lot of series like it beforehand. So you need to create a new, like a new sound, a new
Mhm.
language, like an audio language for that sort of storytelling. And I think Azumanga did it really effectively,
Mhm.
because like when the series is going crazy, like whenever Tomo-chan is just going nuts. Um, the music keeps up with her. It plays that
Mhm.
little kazoo song.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, and but when there's a more strange or surreal conversation, there will be like a plodding electronic keyboard that goes dun 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 dun, and like kind of off key,
Yep.
you know, kind of keeping you in flux, like you're not really settled in one particular mood.
Yep.
Um, it's really effective. Like all the musical choices are really effective. But the one that I keep coming back to when I think about the soundtrack is the recorder and the innocence, like the kind of the carefree um,
Mhm.
aspect of the girls' lives.
Yep. 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 Loving the show so fast. Um, I think I would again spend more time to rewatching everything out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's tempting, but I have so many other things to watch. I'm currently watching like 24 different
Oh, really?
anime. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Good luck with that. I think
Yeah.
you're gonna have fun with that.
Well, I'm progressing very slowly. Some of them I haven't seen in weeks, but uh,
Mhm.
I've got 24 things going on. I can't afford to rewatch Azumanga. I'm already like neglecting anime for Hearthstone and other stuff and my job, right now. So
All right. Just think like this. Like out of the 24 shows, uh would there be any show that's as good as you mentioned? Think about
that's
that.
a great question. Let's take a look. Uh, Let me see here.
All right.
Card cap, like what do you mean, like that I would enjoy as much, or
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
or
That's
have a
right.
similar status?
Um, that you would enjoy that much. Yes.
as much as Azumanga. Let me
Mhm.
see here. I'm halfway through so far, not seeing anything. Great Pretender, maybe. I really like Great Pretender this season.
Yep. Okay,
Um,
great.
and Chibi Maruko-chan
All
is
right, yeah.
one that's becoming one of my favorite anime as I watch.
How many episodes of that one?
150-ish.
Oh my gosh.
But that's just for the original series. It continued on as like a kind of a sequel for many more episodes after that. I only plan to watch like, episodes of it whenever I feel like it, up to the first 150-ish.
Yep.
After that, I won't continue. But it would
Right.
just be those two. Like out of 24 shows, I think only two of them here can compete with how much I like Azumanga.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you know like you can substitute Chibi Maruko-chan with Azumanga, I would be very happy. Uh,
wait,
this is
why? Why would I get rid of one of the two that of the 24? Wouldn't it be one of the other 22 that I should drop?
uh
Doesn't that make
that
way more
I,
sense?
yeah, that that make more sense. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll rewatch it eventually. Like, well, maybe I shouldn't be so bold as to claim that I'm gonna rewatch. I mean, I'll probably eventually do a 2000s rewatch because remember last year we did like I did it. I mean, I
Yep.
did a huge 2010s rewatch. I rewatched like 30 shows.
Yep.
Um, and I'm at some point, maybe if we're still writing for Starcrossed in 2025, I would say that would be a good time to do a best of the 2000s.
All right. If we're gonna stay that long, we can definitely do that. I think
I
like
think it's possible that I'll still be blogging in 5 years. I
yeah.
don't know.
Well, yeah. I just say like in the next few years I gonna fill up my knowledge on the 2000s shows, so I'm gonna be more focused on those.
Yeah.
So by the time of
Well, I've
2025,
seen
I
a
think I will be ready.
yeah. I mean, the reason I would say that like it should be 2025 is so that there's some sort of milestone to it,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to just doing some big project every year. I don't know if we could all. Yeah, it actually would be kind of fun to do a big project like every year. You know.
Yeah, it be fun.
Um,
I think I'm down to that. I'm just not sure that I see myself still writing blog 5 years from now. I actually like 5 years from now I might have like a family with a kid already. Uh, we
you
never
think
know.
so?
We never know.
I
So
definitely don't see that for myself. Like I don't know that I'll ever get married or have a kid.
oh wow,
I
right.
work I work with kids. I
Yeah.
don't really feel the need to have one.
Uh,
I think the only reason I would have a kid is if I met a woman who I loved who wanted one.
all right. Wow. Oh wow. All right. That's a bold
I mean,
statement to make.
I work with kids every day,
Yep.
um, so I
Yep.
don't,
Fair
and I
enough.
don't like. I think a lot of people who have children are looking to like pass down part of themselves into that kid, and I
Mhm.
think that's really dangerous,
Yep. Yep.
honestly.
Yep. Yep.
People who think of their children as an extension of themselves, and I think that even the desire, like the biological desire to have children, is kind of rooted in that idea of like
Hmm.
instilling your consciousness in another vessel.
Yep.
Um, that kind of freaks me out when I think about that.
Right.
Uh,
All
plus,
right.
I have like mental problems and stuff. I don't want my kid to have them either.
Don't think about that. Like they will take good stuff from you as well.
What good stuff?
Just by your gene, by your DNA, they gonna take like all the bad and good stuff from you,
Yeah,
and
I guess so.
and your wife.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing. I
So
don't see
that
myself like getting married to anybody.
yeah, so that can even out.
Yeah.
Myself, I think I probably will have children before I get to marriage.
Before you get married?
Yeah, I just don't see myself, like getting married anytime soon. But having a children is that another story.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, I mean, best of luck.
Yeah.
I would still practice safe sex if I were you, and not just like aim for children right
All
away. But it's your life.
all right. I think this conversation is queuing for Pluto because we're gonna talk about like the franchise, the what they call the invention, the
I have
kids.
no idea how this conversation links to Pluto.
Because on volume 4 there are like conversation about the three biggest scientists about their all like creation, their children.
Okay, gotcha. Sure.
All
Yeah,
right,
let's talk about
how
Pluto.
yeah how do you find about this volume first? Is it like as confusing as like the third one?
No, I mean definitely not, because Pluto is not one of the characters.
All right. Yep.
Pluto is back to being kind of like a mysterious tornado generating force.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, and we're back into like the more political aspect of the series, I suppose. So we're back in Volume 2 territory, which is talking about a lot about the 39th Central Asian conflict,
Mm-hmm.
the robotic weapons of mass destruction that were the precedent for the invasion
Yeah.
of Persia. I mean, this is all very clearly an Iraq war metaphor. Like, America
Mm-hmm.
invaded Iraq based on the suspicion that they had weapons of mass destruction.
Yep.
The series is not clever about this at all. Honestly, it's kind of annoying how heavy-handed it is.
Yeah.
Maybe to Japanese audiences, it's a little bit more, I don't know, like new. I'll just use the word new. Like maybe they weren't so focused on that controversy, like America invading Iraq under false pretenses.
Yep.
But I mean, I've seen movies and TV shows that have been based on that concept, and I've seen it beaten to death.
Yep. I
So, I mean,
understand
at
that.
least Pluto has a teddy bear, though. Like the teddy bear is like somehow pulling all the strings behind
Yeah.
America.
The mastermind.
Yeah. At least we got that going on. So I mean, because it's more like Volume 2, we're talking about the politics of it and the history of the war and how that all ties into what's going on now. I think I appreciate it a little more. I thought Volume 3 was just Urasawa being like indulging his most masturbatory narrative tendencies and being like, oh well, I'm bored now, so let's make a new story.
All right.
This one
Some
kind of went back to what I expected.
Yeah, some of the development from volume 3 doesn't really transfer to volume 4, like Pluto itself. Like we don't see more of that.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that because Pluto is a mess. Like, what is Pluto exactly? He's like,
Yeah, we still don't know that for sure. I don't even know like the one who took Atom life is Pluto or not, because it
yeah,
apparently is
it is.
like the monster from the tornado is a Pluto.
Yeah, that's Pluto
All right.
somehow. And so was the painter guy who we met in Volume 3. He
Yeah.
was also Pluto.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Somehow. Like, Pluto is an amnesiac robot painter beast, tornado generating, water merging robot / human killer. It's just a clusterfuck.
All right.
And Urasawa gets away with it because he has a famous name.
All right. That doesn't really sound good.
No,
Um,
it sounds like a complete mess, but that's what Pluto is. The
uh,
character, not the manga.
right. Well, I think it might be clearer like in later volumes when we see like the true nature of Pluto, for example.
Will
For
we ever?
Yeah, well, for now I do think that the death of Atom, for example, is more of a uh, Pluto, like what's the word I'm looking for? Stealing his soul.
Yeah. I doubt that his consciousness is truly erased. Or like his consciousness is not the right word, I guess.
Yep.
I doubt he's dead. I doubt that his data is gone or
Yep.
wiped.
That that's right. Like out of all the characters, the fact that Atom is the one who declared that is like right in the middle of the story like that. Just give me a lot of red flag.
Yeah, and I mean, even putting the story to the side for a second and just thinking about like the authorship of it and the rights to the character,
Yeah.
Adam. There's no way that Tezuka Productions was gonna let him be killed.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Because this, as far as I can tell, this series is like canon in the Astro Boy universe. Like, it's being made with Tezuka's blessing and all that.
Yep.
So, yeah, he's not dead. There's no way.
Yep. Uh, that come to like my next question is like the meeting between the three scientists, and what Tenma say that he created like the critic robot. Do do you have any idea what he means by that? Because he always consider that item is a failure.
Right. So I'm not sure what exactly you're asking. You know that Tenma's the one who created Adam, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know.
So the flashback that we see, or the dream, or whatever it is, where we see the car crash,
Uh-huh.
and then there's a boy like learning to walk. The reason that Tenma created Astro Boy was because his own son died.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
In that car crash, I guess. So he made a robot who looked like his son.
Yep.
But then Tenma is quickly like, I can't remember in the original series what exactly happens to him. But I don't know if he dies or if he like disappears or what goes on. But Astro Boy quickly ends up in the care of Dr. Ochanomizu, or Professor Ochanomizu, who you've already met. So Tenma, I mean, in the 2003 anime, he's cast as a villain, and it looks like in this one he's a bit of a villain as well. I don't know why he says Adam was a failure, but I think it's because he thinks that Adam's potential for evolution is limited. Like he keeps talking about hatred and sadness being the keys to like true artificial intelligence. So I think the idea is that those emotions are stronger, and so they can prompt the robots to evolve in their consciousness, because like more positive and more neutral emotions will just maintain the status quo, and then robots will just continue to serve humanity without coming into their own as a quote-unquote species. I think that's the idea that's being presented. So Tenma probably created Pluto as well, right? Or is it confirmed that other... Oh, wait, what if that other dude is Tenma?
What
Do you remember the
right.
guy who created Pluto, who we met in... I can't remember what volume it was, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Doctor something. Yeah. Let me check.
What if he's Tenma? Like plastic surgery or whatever.
Yeah,
he could be Tenma, and Tenma could have created Pluto.
Yeah.
And like in his attempt to create a perfect robot because Adam was a failure. That would make Pluto like Adam's brother.
Yeah, I still don't get the guy's name, but because Tenma has been like in underground for so long that it could be possible actually.
Yeah, that's my new working theory.
Right. So like the perfect robot that he creating now is Pluto. Collective show off, anything that you just said before.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that Pluto was like some sort of weird collective of robot consciousness or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the idea that Tenma had, was that limiting a robot's like interpretation of the world to just one perspective was too limited, and like you had to combine. It could be like Psychopaths with all the brains uh, in like the
Yep.
100 different brains of like societal outcasts,
Mm-hmm.
who together would form like a quote unquote perfect
Yep.
like system or consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Could be something like that. I don't know. Maybe Psychopaths was inspired by Pluto, and the idea that there's multiple robots like functioning as part of the same being.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this volume was. I mean, I'm way more interested
How?
now.
All right.
Now that I have this theory.
How do you feel about Adolf and Gesig's development?
I like the idea that Gesicht. I mean, first of all, I think it's kind of unbelievable that Gesicht would be assigned to be his bodyguard. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me because he's an Interpol agent.
No, it's not. No, it's
However,
not. Right.
I do like the concept
Yeah.
because it brings their stories together.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before they were very different. Like when Adolf first reappeared in this volume, like with his little missile launcher
Yep.
on top of the skyscraper across the street
Yep.
from
Yeah.
Gesicht's apartment, I was like, what the hell? So our reintroduction to this character he's getting ready for the murder,
Mm-hmm.
like, but then they kind of reintegrate him and they provide this plot line for for the tension between humans and robots to actually be borne out in the relationship between two major characters, as opposed to just seeing constant news broadcasts
Mm-hmm.
and hearing from like police chiefs and side characters. Now we're getting to the heart of that conflict, in two people who we understand. So that's good. Like that's narrative progress. That's thematic progress.
Mm-hmm.
Not just keeping things separate, but
I
bringing two stories together so that you understand what the author is trying to communicate.
Right. I actually, like expect that there was like a chain of hat and maybe like a bit of the positive development from Adolf to Gesich from last volume. But I actually think that the way that Gesich find out about the top secret information bit is a bit too convenient.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, it's very convenient. But a story with this many moving parts is going to
Yep.
require conveniences
Yep.
in
True.
order for those parts to come together. It's not possible for
Yeah, that's true.
to work otherwise.
Yep.
Um,
So I think this volume have been more straightforward than these other ones.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about another convenience? Ochano Mizu being reminded constantly by like his robot guard,
Uh-huh.
you're in danger, you're in danger, you're in danger, and then the dog's owner,
Yeah.
or the guy who's posing as that robot dog's owner just comes in. He's like, "Come on in, bro. I'm sure you're hurting after the death of your dog. Just come on in. We'll have a nice long chat." And no, that guy was the top secret scientist from Persia, who created all those robots who they found.
Yeah.
That's a coincidence and a half. Maybe coincidence is the wrong word, because you would expect that if that guy has a grudge against Ochano Mizu, you would expect him to hunt him down. However, hearing from the robot guard that Ochano Mizu is in danger, and then in the same chapter, that danger coming to his doorstep,
Yep.
that's just like, there's not even any time for that to stew in our minds before all of a sudden his life is threatened.
Yep. 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 I Epsilon creator.
Oh yeah, there was a shout out to your city, wasn't there?
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
I'm glad to see like my city was featured in there.
Is that the first time your city has ever been in an anime?
I don't
or
think so.
manga?
No.
Not the first time?
No. So it is the first time. So it have never been featured anywhere else. I think, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's not really big city by all means.
Well, it's big enough that like Naoki Urasawa knows about it and would use it in one of his published works.
Yeah, well, when he want to mention about like the capital city of Australia, yes, he will mention that.
No, Canberra isn't the capital, is it?
It is the capital city of Canberra. Of Australia.
Ca- why are you saying Canberra?
So Canberra
I've
is
always there's a B in it, isn't there?
sorry. So yeah.
In my translation of the manga, it said Canberra.
Canberra, yeah, it's Canberra.
Okay.
It's the capital of Australia, so that's why he put it in
Dude,
there.
what? I didn't know. I didn't know it was I thought Sydney was the capital. Actually,
No,
I think
right.
we've had this conversation before.
Yep.
I'm just an ignorant, uh,
Um,
unlearned
yeah,
geographical novice.
that's alright because Canberra is like DC, so it's like a man-made city. Not many people know very much about that. It is not
Well,
like a
but
really big city, but it's like the capital where like the government runs.
right. Okay. Um. Huh.
Anyway,
But I mean, everyone knows that DC is the capital of. Well, actually, I shouldn't be so presumptuous. Maybe like people who are Japanese think that New York is the capital of America.
I wouldn't be surprised actually to hear
Yeah.
that, to hear people think that New York or like
Well,
Los Angeles,
Chicago or Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But I mean, like, those are very obviously cultural hubs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I don't know this about Australia, but I don't think that Canberra is a cultural hub. I think of Sydney as the cultural hub of Australia.
Yeah. Well, the population say though, like the population in Sydney and Melbourne alone consists of like 60% of the population in Australia.
Right. Well, I imagine it's the same for New York. The population
Is
of New
it?
York City is probably more than the population of Washington D.C.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Just comparing like the big city to the capital city in both countries.
Yep. I would say like in terms of population, DC will be like around 10 or 15 most
Million?
more populous like city in America.
Oh, let's look. List of most populous cities in U.S. Okay, we go over here. Looking for Washington, D.C. It is 20th.
20th.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Yep.
Yeah. Where is my city, I wonder?
Oh,
Not here.
go figure.
It is not in the top 317. I'm actually kind of surprised to see that Fairfax, which is my neighboring city, is not here. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, hey man, well, let me look. Is Canberra on this list? Or wait, this is a list of U.S. cities. I mean, from what I've heard from you, Canberra is not that populated.
Yeah, but it's like one of the big city in Australia. So it's like I think it's like number 5 or 6 more popular cities in Australia. It doesn't count much though. We just have like 400 something thousand people.
That's a lot.
That not that much.
I mean, it's pretty big, dude, compared to where I live.
All right, compared to where I was born and raised in Vietnam, it just all right. Let's just see like Ho Chi Minh City population. You will get the idea.
Ho Chi Minh. I thought Ho Chi Minh was the name of like the prime minister of Vietnam.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, the city was named after him.
Yeah, that's right. Ho Chi Minh City population is 8.993 million.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
Okay, so Washington D.C.'s population is 700,000.
All right, so it's
Ho Chi
still,
Minh City is massive, dude.
I know. All right, let's see. Like I don't think it's compared to um, New York. But let's say New York city population 8.399 million. So Ho Chi Minh City is even
It's
more
comparable.
yeah, comparable. Yeah.
The city where I live, this is a number from 2018, has
Right.
54,000 people living in it.
That's cool.
I mean, it's still it's very suburban.
Yep. Yep.
So it's not an urban center. There's lots of neighborhoods and stuff,
Yep.
but it's getting more and more packed all the time because it's close to Washington D.C. So people move there for jobs.
Right.
But
And
yeah,
now,
I definitely do not have the city living experience like you've had.
yeah, well,
Uh,
it isn't something that I found comfortable though. So like I really enjoy Canberra because it had like less people compared to like where I was raised born and raised.
right.
Let's say
What
like
is any of?
Tokyo population because they're gonna
Oh
be
yeah, dude.
massive.
Tokyo is
Nine point
like
two million.
it must be a nightmare to live. Oh, it would be for me to live in New York City or
Yeah.
Ho Chi Minh City or Tokyo or
Yep.
any of those sorts of places. I would just I would probably get panic attacks.
Well,
For
you
real.
on the flip side, you will get to see a lot of people, a lot of attractive girls as well,
I don't
and maybe
I don't
one
leave
of
my
them will be
house.
maybe one of them will be like of your taste.
I don't dude, I go to work and I come home. Like I don't leave and I go get groceries. I really don't leave my house.
All right.
Um That's how I
All
got
right.
into
We
anime.
we can have this conversation after the podcast, though.
Well, we've already been talking about irrelevant stuff for 10 minutes. But. So we talked about Ochano Mizu fixing the robot dog, Goji showing up, the Persian scientist. So it's notable that Goji was being controlled by those roaches.
Yep.
Do you
Yep.
remember the roaches who were
Uh,
in the
I do remember.
the bald guy with like the shifty eyes?
Yep.
So Goji was being. I wonder if that was that actually Goji?
Yep. I think so. Yes.
Okay. So he was being controlled by those roaches, and he was a robot.
Mm-hmm.
So the roaches, like, it was through the use of I assume the roaches are some sort of like miniature drones, and they inhabited his body and like took over his consciousness or like replaced it. If they ate his brain drive or something. So there was that development. So since Goji had those roaches in him, we know that the doctor who created Pluto, who we met like in Volume 2 or something, whose name we forget,
Mm-hmm.
he's still pulling the strings.
Yep. I
'Cause the
got
roaches are a signal that like
I
his
got
henchman
his name
is.
here, Doctor Abdullah. Is that ring any bells?
It kind of does. What is it? It's Abu what?
Abdullah
Like L-A?
with double L-A-H.
Okay. Abullah. Okay. I mean, that name sounds Middle Eastern to me, but
Yeah. Who is the one? What's the name of the guy who like sending the names in the top secret things that Gesik filed? Remember that
King
guy?
Darius the 13th or 14th.
All right, the king.
It's one of those two numbers. The manga actually changed it between chapters.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, King
Oh.
Darius. And I think that name, I'm pretty sure that King Darius was actually like a king of Persia.
Hmm.
Pretty sure that's like historical fact.
Yeah.
And that's why he's like the 13th or the 14th. He's a descendant of
All right.
one of the kings of Persia. Oh yeah, also notable, Epsilon is in fact a woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's referred to using that pronoun by Gesicht in one
Yeah.
of these chapters.
But just one time though, because I saw like the other time, people still address her as he in some cases.
Yeah, but I'm willing to bet that that's intentional. Like
Hmm.
that Epsilon is a woman and that most people just aren't aware of that fact. So you were actually right when you said originally the last super robot is a woman because we saw the silhouette of a long-haired person. So your general sexism
Um,
in that people with long hair are women
let
actually paid off.
no no let's just say that I can tell people from Australia.
Oh, there you go. Good comeback. That was excellent. Yeah, that's true. He's Australian. So we yeah. Speaking of Canberra, we learned about Ronald Newton Howard, who is the third of these master
Yep.
scientists or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the one who created Epsilon. And from the general tone surrounding Epsilon's character and dialogue about Epsilon's character, um, she is the most powerful, like the most advanced robot that exists on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's pretty cool, I guess.
Yep.
Um, I don't know how critical. I mean, she is still alive at this point in the story, so
Mm.
hopefully that's because she has some critical role to play.
Yep.
Um,
I think the next one who will kick the bucket is gonna be Hercules.
Probably, yeah. Because who do we have left? We have Gesicht, the main character, sort of,
Yep. We
and
had.
Epsilon, the strongest character. So it's
Yep.
probably going to be Heracles, yeah.
Yep.
Um, you know,
Uh,
and Heracles is the one who's gunning for a fight as well. The reason that he the reason that he's glad to see Hoffman after
Mhm.
Epsilon rescues him is because he wants bait to drag the killer out into the light so that he can face him. And he knows that Hoffman is on his list of targets, so he's like, "Great, just bring me more like sheep for the slaughter, um, to tempt the killer to show up so that he can face them."
Yeah, that's right. And that's one good thing that Hoffman hasn't been killed yet, but he on the take it list. And but I do think that that by the next time that like someone try to kill Hercules, maybe they're gonna take Hoffman life as well. We will see in that.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the way it would end up going. They would have to go through Heracles to kill Hoffman because
Mhm.
Hoffman's going to put himself in the way, so that he gets a shot at fighting Pluto or whomever is committing these murders. So that's what we have to look forward to, I guess,
Right.
as well as getting a resolution on what happened to Adam's character because there's no way he's dead. Figuring
And
out what's going to happen between Gesicht and Adolf, like how that tension is going to be resolved.
yep, that's right. All right.
And learning that the United States stand-in Thracia were actually the bad guys all along.
Yeah. Well, we all know that
We all know that America are the bad guys on the world
Yep.
stage. Let's be real.
So then no real
America
surprise
and
here.
China and Russia, I guess.
Yep. All right. I think that pretty much wraps up our podcast for this week. The next time, what we're gonna do, Whooper.
Next is actually a mid-season check-in. So we're
That's
going to be
right.
talking about seasonal anime,
That's right.
as well
So
as Volume 5 of Pluto. So the shows that we'll end up talking about probably going to be Decadence, I have to imagine, would be one of them.
mhm.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we're watching different stuff, so the podcast is in a different format. We're not doing it the way we have been.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think we
having
will
all of Japan's sinks watched might be a good idea by that point.
Yep. That's right.
Decadence, being caught up on that for sure. I don't know what else, like, because I'm not watching ReZero or Oregairu.
Huh. All right. We will think something about that as well. And we can continue with Pluto as well.
Right. Yeah, that's the plan.
Yep. All right. So we will see you in 2 weeks.
Take care.
For now, yeah. Take care and stay safe.